For this episode, I'll start out with a quote. Kayla Cobb of Decider said, "If you prefer your humor to be equal parts dark and random, then it's time to rewatch this short-lived Nicktoon. Invader Zim can best be characterized by its sarcasm, cruelty, and violence. This is a show that creates a disturbing giant monster baby fusion in one episode and labels the ultimate face of horror as a room with a moose the next. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place, which is why we love it." End quote. A Nickelodeon series about an invading alien race and their companion robots attempting to integrate into society, but sticking out like a sore thumb and creating some of the most disturbing content for children to watch. Nickelodeon reached out to Yonan Vasquez, someone who at the time had written a comic book called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Nickelodeon desired to make a cartoon series geared more towards their preteens and teenagers, and wanted someone who could make a cartoon that would feel more aged up. Vasquez compiled together many things he loved during his own childhood, including robots, monsters, horror films, science fiction films, paranormal investigators, Monty Python, the works of Douglas Adams, and Aliens. A pilot for Invader Zim was pitched to Nickelodeon in 1999, which led to the series being greenlit. The actors who lent their voices to the characters includes Richard Stephen Horvitz as Zim. He also voiced characters in different Power Ranger shows, Grim and Evil, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, The Angry Beavers, and much more. Gurr was voiced by Ricky Allen Simmons. The Almighty Tallest is voiced by Wally Wingert and Kevin McDonald. Kevin McDonald is also known for voicing Agent Pleakley in the Lilo and Stitch franchise. Andy Berman, who voiced Dib, and Melissa Fawn, who voiced Gaz. The series had many other supporting characters that were voiced by other famous voice actors such as Lucille Bliss, Roger Bumpus, and Olivia Diabo. Invader Zim's art was unique and stylized. It involved sharp edges, big heads, and large eyes. The series was one of the first to use 2D animation with CGI animation. The team of Invader Zim drew inspiration from Futurama's use of these two types of animation, and they consulted with the crew of Futurama to integrate this style into their own show. Invader Zim was produced in Nickelodeon Animation Studios in Burbank, California, with Nick Digital providing the CGI animation services, and Sunwoo Entertainment in South Korea providing the 2D animation services. Salami Studios provided the post-production and sound services for most episodes of the series, and Encore and Hollywood Digital provided the post-production services for a few episodes in Season 1. During the series' short run, it frequently ran into issues with censorship. In some instances, characters were meant to be killed off, but Nickelodeon wouldn't allow for characters to die and would cause some episodes to be rewritten. For instance, in a DVD commentary for the episode Bad Bad Rubber Piggy, the creator of the series revealed that Zim was going to kill Dib off permanently, and Dib would be replaced by a new kid. The show also involved disturbing and maybe even graphic material for cartoon series. Though the show had a truly disgusting moment or two, Nickelodeon stepped in and kept it from getting too graphic, such as the use of blood splatter and the characters dying in violent ways. Surprisingly, the episode Dark Harvest was allowed to air. The episode involved Zim harvesting organs from people, a very dark and twisted episode. The series was canceled on January 18, 2002. After 27 completed episodes, Nickelodeon issued a statement, canceling it after its first full season. Some episodes of the second season were completed. but the full 40 episodes of the series weren't fulfilled. In an interview with Sci-Fi in 2018, Richard Horvitz, the voice of Zim, was questioned about why the show got canceled. This was his response. There's been a lot of rumors that have bounded for years about why Invader Zim was canceled. We had horrible ratings. There were two things that were going on in 2001. Our ratings were not doing well. Our demographic at the time was not the Fairly Odd Parents demographic, which is what we premiered with. And we premiered to really, really good critical acclaim. But ratings-wise, the only real barometer was the target audience 6 to 10-year-olds. And I think that it was a little too much for that demographic. And the parents also might have thought it was a little too graphic for them. In 2019, Vasquez was interviewed by Sci-Fi and said, "I never point to one particular thing as the reason for why Invader Zim was canceled. The show could have come out at any point in history, and I don't think it would ever really be appropriate. I think there's always horrible things happening in the world, and genuine comedy comes from horrible things. At the time, it just happened to be things like Columbine and 9/11, and then people freak out because they don't want to offend anyone's sensibilities. It's a justified response to a certain extent. There's people who have been affected, and they don't want to be reminded of this awful stuff. I just think that it did not live well with Nickelodeon's image." Jerry Beck, animation historian, said, "Invader Zim was too dark and subversive for Nick's core demographic, and much of the humor flew past the heads of their younger viewers. But in retrospect, Vasquez and his director Steve Russell did everything right. The episodes never play it safe nor are predictable. It marches to its own drummer, and that's as it should be." Even though the series was canceled early, the show has garnered a following. Gurr became a very famous character due to his cuteness and his random moments. The show has gained more respect from audiences that believe the show was before its time. Considering the main character was the villain, many adult shows such as Breaking Bad had a villain in the center of the story in the future. In 2006, IGN ranked Invader Zim at number 22 on their list of the top 25 primetime animated series of all time. And in 2009, IGN ranked Invader Zim at number 57 on their list of the top 100 animated series. In 2016, Entertainment Weekly ranked Zim as the 18th most memorable Nickelodeon character. That same year, Screen Rant ranked Invader Zim at number 9 on their list of the 25 best Nickelodeon shows, and The Guardian ranked Invader Zim as the third best Nickelodeon cartoon. In 2017, CBR ranked Invader Zim at number 5 on their list titled 15 Incredible Cartoons that were canceled for no good reason. In 2018, Pace Magazine ranked Invader Zim at number 60 on their list of the 100 best sci-fi shows of all time. In 2018, IGN included the episode The Most Horrible Xmas Ever on their list titled 10 of the Best Holiday TV Episodes Ever. Invader Zim gave way to various types of media, even though the series never really made it past the first season. The Netflix film Invader Zim Enter the Florpus came out on August 16, 2019. It was originally set to air on Nickelodeon, but was instead released on Netflix. Additionally, video games were made based off the series and their characters, and toys, dolls, clothing, and several other types of media have been available years after the show's ending. In conclusion, Invader Zim became another great cartoon series to meet its end too soon. The series may have been too dark for a Nickelodeon series, but it inspired many other cartoon creators after its demise. One thing that can be said about Invader Zim is that its style, comedy, and horror made it one of the greats.